What's up, everybody? 3D Theory here. Today is July 17th, 2024 at 7:52 a.m. This is vlog number 6. And as you can see, they're cleaned out. There's no print from last night because I had come and pulled off the prints last night. And as you can tell, these boxes here are full. So I got to empty those out. This one actually needs the Y guide rail lubricated, so I'm going to do that. And I got to switch out the filament for this one. This one is actually still pretty good. Those are still really good. So I'm going to get that started here and go through the morning routine. So what I like to do with these boxes here is that I collect them here because it's easy to just take them off and put them in a box to store. But then I have these baskets that I come and load them into and take them to the assembly station where I assemble it. So I'm going to go grab those baskets and we're going to fill those baskets up with each of these boxes. And I'll show you right now. And those are the baskets there. And here are all my tools. Actually, my big light that I use for filming, I actually put it in here so I can see what I'm doing better. And we'll go into all this one day, but this is where basically I assemble all those sets there. So I got a left set and a right set. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these. We got right latch, right plate. So number 4 is right, number 2 is right for the latch, and pretty much just grab it. I just dump them in here like that. Same with this one. And we should have equal amount of latches to plates. And how many do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wow, that's a good amount. I think the most I've ever done at once was 14, so I'm 1 up. Very nice. All right, then I just go ahead and grab these guys, bring them back into that room, as long as this doesn't bend. I'll just do it one at a time. I gotta hold it by the handles. So it's just a little convenient way of transporting them around. I'll grab the left plate and left latch at the same time. I'm gonna take this inside too. All right, now I'm gonna do the same thing with these. All right, so we got the latches here. So I'm gonna put them in the latches. And we got the plates. Let's just make sure we have 15 of these as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Correct. Awesome. All right. I'm going to take these. All right, so I'm going to grab these with the camera in the hand, so excuse the angle. All right, so we got those there, and once they're in here I go through this processing phase, but I think I'm going to show that a little later. What's most important right now is to continue production. So I'm going to go back to the printer room and lubricate the y-axis for printer number 4, switch out its spool of filament because it's running out, and then we'll get that started, and we'll come back in here and I'll show you like one part of what I do for the processing. So for lubricating the Y guide rail, you're supposed to use oil. So I know that the machines come with oil, but I was passing through Harbor Freight and I saw this multi-purpose oil, and I said, all right, this might be something I can use to lubricate those Y guide rails. And so far I've used it on number 1, number 2, and number 3 had its message come up yesterday on the screen saying it needs to be lubricated. And what's funny is that it says it needs to be lubricated monthly, but I've been running these machines for almost 2 weeks now, and already I had to re-lubricate number 1, number 2, and number 3. So I just put this little paper here to remind me to lubricate it. And then I'm assuming number 4 is going to come up pretty soon, but it hasn't yet. So we'll get that lubricated pretty soon as well. As a matter of fact, I'm going to turn these on. I also wanted to give these machines a break because they've literally been running for 2 weeks straight, non-stop. And I had a lot of extra things to do last night, like getting these emptied out. And so I just said, you know what, I'll just give, a break to the machines and get these all sorted out. Since these take longer than the plates, the latches take longer than the plates, I'm gonna actually start these already. All right, so all those are started. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start lubricating this one. When it comes time to lubricating this Y guide rail, they actually send you a QR code that you can watch and see how to do it. So I'm pretty much just doing what was shown on that QR code video, except I'm using this 3-in-1 multi-purpose oil that lubricates, penetrates, rust, removes, and protects. I like that. And it's got Marksman Twist Spout. So it's got a little hole up top there that helps you regulate how much goes in, because really this stuff is kind of watery. How can I show you here? Yeah, it's like pretty viscous, if that's the right word. Watery. But you just take out this plate here carefully. And then you got a bar here, really thick bar, and then you just pretty much grab a paper towel, give it a nice wipe. Usually like a little bit of black stuff is there. And then I like to do the front part as well. One thing to note though, this 3-in-1 oil does smell like WD-40. I read somewhere that this is a WD-40 brand, but don't quote me because I tried looking for it again and I couldn't find it. I don't know where I saw it. Was it on this thing? Let's see. Yeah, I'm not too sure where I saw it. Yeah, it actually says right there, WD-40 company. So it does smell like WD-40. It does have a smell to it. It ain't terrible. It just smells like WD-40. And if you don't like that, then that can be a problem, but it's not a problem for me. So I open the spout a little bit to see if I can regulate how much comes out, because this stuff, again, it is watery. And it's still, now it's like barely coming out. Oh, okay, there you go. So now it's coming out nicely. And we just put it on this like bar right here. And then you want to send it back and forth a couple of times to spread it. I'm going to do the other side too. I'm actually going to come around to have a better vantage point. Let's see. All right. Bam. Try not to get any of the oil on the plate if it's on your finger. One would think it's enough, but in the video it shows them doing it twice, so I like to do it twice too. And you could really feel the difference after oiling this machine with this stuff. Like, as I move it back and forth, I can really feel the difference of it helping lubricate it. It just moves back and forth a lot easier. There you have it. And we're pretty much done with that one. I'm gonna cover it back up right now. Okay, now I'm just gonna grab this lid, which has a really cool hexagonal pattern on the bottom of it. I don't know if you've seen it, but that's pretty sweet. Looks all futuristic and whatnot. Some filament gets in here during like purging and whatnot, so I like to just make sure it's not in there, just so everything runs smoothly. Move this cord aside, then try to get it in there as smoothly as possible. All right, there you go, finally. That was actually the hardest one I've ever done. It might be because I'm also filming. I'm kind of in an awkward position here. But okay, that's good to go. Now, time to change the spool. First, let's turn it on. All right. It is getting hot in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn on this fan on low. All right, speaking of, it is 77.9 degrees Fahrenheit in the printer room. I don't know if you guys saw my short yesterday, but I had switched out a spool of filament up top, and we're just gonna go ahead and do the same thing now. So I click on load, and it just goes through the heating of the nozzle and all of its checks. And once it's ready, it'll basically pull the filament out, and then you can roll it out, and the screen will tell you when it's ready to do that. All right, so now it's basically saying to pull out the filament there. So that's what I'm gonna do. Basically, I just roll it out. And there's still a little bit left, but definitely not enough for me to be able to do another full one. So I store it, and it does a really nice clean cut. Let me just show you. There you go. It does a nice little clean cut on the filament. It actually has a cutter where this is the cutter here. I don't want to squeeze it, but it sends the head over here and it pushes on this lever and it gives it a nice clean cut. All right, and I got my boxes of filaments right here. So I just go ahead and I pull one out. Take it out of its bubble wrap. And this got a little slit right here, so I pull on that, opens it right up. Okay, close that up. Just toss it aside. It's got this little tag. And then I pull it out. And maybe out of force of habit, I don't think it's necessary, but maybe it is necessary. I give it that diagonal cut, as I've been doing since I started 3D printing. And then we go back down to load it in. All right, so I just load it back up, bring it through the tubing here, all the way, and you're just gonna keep going and keep going and keep going until it stops, or until you see that unload sign light up. And so I'm pushing the filament through still right now off camera, and there you go, the unload sign lit up, and I'm just gonna click load, and it's gonna run through a series of tests. It's gotta heat up the nozzle first, and so when it gets to push new filament into the extruder, it gives you the option to retry, because you're watching for the nozzle to start spewing out some of the filament. And I found that pushing the filament through during that phase right here helps. So I just push it forward. Obviously you want to hold this and not put too much pressure on it. And it's going through that test right now. It says push new filament. And just to see if it actually needs like a little help to push through, I'm gonna click retry and see if it actually pushes some filament out. So I just clicked retry and it's pushing the filament out. So it doesn't need help. It's not always that it needs help pushing the filament through up top there, just sometimes. And it says if you see the filament has come out, just click done. So you don't need to press retry anymore. I click done. And now that I click done, it's gonna purge out some more, then poop it out. Sometimes it feels like a lot of filament's coming out, but I'm happy whatever it's doing it good. So I'm happy that it's doing what it's doing. So it purged it out. The load is complete. Then it brings you back to this screen here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start the print. All right, we're ready to go. All right, well, that's doing its thing. Let's go ahead and go to the assembly room, and I can show you a little bit of what I do for the assembly process. All right, so I'm just gonna demonstrate one here, and I'm gonna show you a couple of the tools that I have. So I 3D modeled and created these things here, which basically this here, it's just like a mini screwdriver, and I created like a big handle for it, and I basically flattened out the top, and I'll show you why right now. And I created this little plate so that I can put it there and do what I need to do. And what I'm doing basically is there's these little screw holes on these plates, and I need to pop them out. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one popped out when I was taking it off the build plate, but I modeled this in such a way where it gives it support, and I can just pop those out. I keep these on me, so just in case I have any sort of stringing going on or any area that needs cleaning. For example, there was a spot here that had some strings, and I used it at some other point in time because it's already cleaned off, to cut it off and smooth it out so that the tolerance is okay. Tolerances are okay as well. And I look for stringing here or anything where I need a good tolerance, where if it might impede you know, smooth movement. And I already feel there's like a little bit of a dimple there. If maybe you could pick it up on the camera. I don't know if you can or not, but there's a little dimple there, and that will definitely impede. The smallest little dimple will impede, and there was something there, so I moved that. But I just go ahead and I cut that off. But to finish my sentence, it was even the littlest things can impede movement and smooth functionality, so I keep an eye out for those sorts of things, and that ought to do the trick. My test for smooth movement is I put this in here, and if it can move freely on its own like this, then I've done a good job. And obviously it shouldn't wobble inside, and it doesn't. So to pop those out, I just put it in this little template that I've created for it, or a jig. I don't know if this would be considered a jig. And I just pop them out. And sometimes you just gotta finish the job by pulling them off. And sometimes they get kind of stuck. Not all the time, but that actually came out really nice. So we're good there. And this one, the wall of the support was too thin. So with this thing's got an angle. So I closed these snippers, and I do that, and it pops right out. And there you have it. That's pretty much ready to go. And then what I do next is I got some springs here with this, I think it's a dough scraper, but I bought it for these purposes. And I got to put 3 springs in these holes here. So I go 1, 2, and 3. I pop that in, give it some extra support, push forward and down, making sure the springs are all in properly. And there you have it. This is ready to be installed on the larger portion of the product. And my partners asked me not to show the entire process, so I'm showing you what I can 3D printing wise. But this does go on a product that doesn't have other 3D printed parts except for this. So pretty much it's a latch system, and that's how it works. And so pretty much I just rinse and repeat for all the other ones. Alright guys, that about wraps it up for today's vlog. Thank you for coming along and joining me on this journey. That was just a little bit of my process that I go through after the print is finished and start the assembly phase. Well, until next time guys, peace, love, and joy.